right, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the stream here today. We are going to be doing a couple of interesting things. I'm joined here today by Jos. Jos is one of the developers behind Isonzo. And Jos, if you could please, let me make sure that I got you turned up here. If you could please tell me exactly what it is, your role that you have with Isonzo, because you're somebody who wears a lot of different hats.
Yeah, you can say that again. First of all, thanks for hosting. Glad to be back. It's been been too long, but we had great fun last time, and definitely have that tonight as well. My role is founder and creative director and the CEO of Blackmail Games. So starting with my little project for Dun in it's now 15 years ago, and here we are with the third game, Isonzo. I do the creative direction. I also run the company together with 25 very talented people.
And how many did you all start with back in the day with Verdun? Just as like a testament to how much the game has grown, the studio's grown.
Just three.
Just
so
three.
it's was me and me and two brothers from the same town. I met them in college, and we started to make games. I had a passion for WW1 for a long time.
Yeah.
And
It definitely shows in this game, and of course that's what we're going to do here today. You all have been, and I've been keeping track of this. Like, you all have been knocking out maps for this game and the other ones. I mean, for like you said, 15 years. I mean, it's been incredible just to see, you know, that you guys are still going with this and still coming out with new, interesting, engaging gameplay experiences for people playing the game.
yeah, it's it's the passion of mine to recreate all of World War One. So for me, it really feels like a journey through time, recreating all the battles that were fought, and going from location to location. And I think what the fans also really appreciate is constantly get a new location to fight, and new levels. I think ultimately for an FPS like ours, maps are the main piece of the content. You can of course there's weapons, but they can only differ so much. But the environments, they create entirely different moods, tactics that can be played. I think that is the centerpiece of what you can do as a developer. Introduce new levels, and it's also the most visually appealing aspect. We have all process of how we recreate. A lot of blogs also about this particular level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and I see the chat there. I think I got it figured out. I had a little issue with the audio, it not pulling it from the right place. So hopefully we should be in good shape there. But yeah, talking about the map that just came out. So looking at it here, we've got it pulled up on the screen, but it's Adamello, and Adamello is a really interesting story. I was doing some research for it. The Italian friend, admittedly, is one that I don't know a ton of information about. It tends to play second fiddle a lot of the time to the Western Front, right? When you think about that, which is just fascinating considering just how tough the conditions were for the troops out here, in locations like this. So Adamello, I think it's been mentioned before, but it's up to the peak of it's over 3,500 meters, and just trying to imagine, waging war in such an environment would be difficult to say the least, right? So
Yeah, I mean this is one of the peak the peaks. This is the highest battle that was fought. Well, up until in the Himalayas, which is I think somewhere in the 90s, where there was a border conflict. So up until then, this was the highest battle that was ever fought.
Sorry, I'm surprised I lived through that. Playing the game. 3,500 feet, though, that high up, and it's something here, like, we think of it as like a predominantly winter oriented map, but it's something, these guys were up there pretty much from 1915 on to the end of the war. The fighting for the mountain ended in I think November 1st, 1918, is what I had pulled up, so not that far from the end of the war.
Yeah, this particular area of the front is in the northwest, near the Stelvio Pass. You know, people may know that from the Grand Tour, the cars, beautiful mountain pass between Switzerland and Italy. But it's all the way on the northwestern extreme of the front. So this was not affected by the Caporetto withdrawal. Like all the other scenarios, they were fighting in the mountains, but then once the battle was lost in the plains, the Italian army had to withdraw, and all the blood that they sacrificed all these soldiers for conquering these mountains. They that was in vain. On this part of the front, it was static. Well, pretty much static. Of course, there were these this scenario in particular where of course, the Italians did conquer this mountain peak. But yeah, what is immediately obvious, I mean, in the mountains in general, maybe trench warfare is the futility was very obvious here. It's like one hill, but then there's another, like all the way up until Innsbruck, you have mountain ranges. So you can already imagine how hard it is to would have been to win the Alpine War. Of course, the war was decided in other areas. It wasn't decided here. There were battles, and this particular battle fought in early 1918 was a relatively large-scale operation for this height. For three battalions involved in this operation. I think we can go, if we switch to the Italian side. We can see the initial approach they had to make, where they conquered the front line in a relative surprise attack. But then once the Italians, I'm talking the Italians here, both sides did operations in the high mountains, but once they overcame the front line, the battle for the highest peak was fought in the second phase, which they describe. We found some notes of soldiers, and they describe the fighting on the extreme peaks, where they brought up the mountain guns. Switch to the Italian side, you can see there's a mountain gun placed in the front line. You can actually wield that to barrage the Austrian positions, partially also on the glacier. So I'm wielding one right now. If you can.
Oh, is that you back there?
Yeah. I think you might be my squad. If you can spawn on the.
Well, I will walk over there because I get to walk across this glacier here, and taking a look at all of the research that you guys did. You mentioned you're kind of the World War One fanatic guy, but I don't think a lot of people realize exactly how much work goes into bringing something like this to life. I can see you. Using the mountain guns is always an interesting experience.
Yeah.
But you, oh, team damage. I mean, I'm just firing this, but I actually took a look and I pulled up some of the information that y'all had posted on Reddit the other day. I just blindly fired that and managed to get 2 guys. So that also kind of describes, I think, combat in the Alps. I want to, while we're rebooting the game here, I want to pull up some info very quickly, and let me see if I can get that over here real quick. But y'all have posted on Reddit, and I've got it up on the screen, but this is some of the photographic reference that you all took. You know, you actually went and traveled to the place, or you found a photographic reference that you could use, and then compared it to, you know, what it was like back during the time that people actually fought there. And then, of course, you've got the actual look at what it looks like in game. And one of them, I think the attacker side has, you know, these tents that are like in the spawn area. And I was just looking at it in the game and just thinking, wow, how awful, how awful that would be to have to be in one of those tents on the side of this mountain when it's, you know, just really snowy and just absolutely bitter cold and windy, and questioning, you know, wow, was it really like that? And then you all have the actual image of what it looked like back then, and you put that in the game. And I love it when developers do that, where, you know, they show you what it was actually like and then, you know, how it looks inside the game itself.
Yeah. Props to Kian, our level designer, who's particularly keen on recreating the one-on-ones. So you can even see that the silhouette of the mountain sort of matches. Very particular. Okay, so this is the Marocaro Pass. So the photo of the tents obviously is not directly under the front lines. We moved that a bit, but but it's in that area. But you can see the shape of the mountain sort of matching with the photos, and really try to recreate the that particular the particular layout of the battle, which is quite hard, because if you use Google Maps, like the height references are not matching up. It's really these are really high peaks, and their height differences are very intense, and that's typically not visualized in 3D. So we really have to rely on photographic material, either from back then and contemporary. This area actually, you can go up there. There's like a little hotel and a ski slope on one side. I did not go up there, but there's a museum as well. When I was in the area, but I mean, in the mountains, you know, even if you go there casually for a holiday, it's a logistical challenge to go up there. You have to take the cable cart up there. First of all, you have to get into the mountains. Driving into the mountains itself, it's you know, maybe as the bird flies. It's only a few kilometers, but there's these winding roads. And, you know, maybe there's like a tractor in front of you blocking it, or worse, cyclists that block a road. The mountains can be challenging, and I mean, that's obviously me in my very comfy car driving around. But back then, you know, you had to take your donkey and your entire artillery, hold it up the mountain. That's obviously
That's something that I had looked into there as well. That donkeys played a big role in moving men and material up the mountain. You guys have also recreated a pulley system at one point on the mountain. which does not look like something I would want to ride. It's just swaying there back and forth. Definitely a little bit intimidating. But again, just a testament to how difficult it was to fight in these kinds of conditions.
Yeah. We'll boot later the Ascent game mode where it gets completely vertical, and there's been which is obviously based on the several battles where they actually did the vertical ascent, the climbing. Maybe for those who are familiar with World War II, the Point du Hoc at D-Day, where the Rangers seized the cannons. They obviously had to climb vertically, but on the Italian front there were several occasions an audacious raid was done by small units up the vertical cliffs to dislodge the defenders from those areas. Obviously, this is a very small scale. You cannot bring thousands and thousands of soldiers vertically up, so it's typically almost a man-to-man combat. But there were scenarios where that actually happened.
I'm trying to work my way around the side over here, and it would help if I could actually hit things. Trying to get around the flank.
Just load the machine gun for you. So.
Let me see here. As we're talking about this, there are a couple other things I wanted to mention real quick. One of the things right now, we're in the just the start of a free trial for the game.
Yeah, a free weekend on Steam and PlayStation is going on at the moment.
Yep, and if you have the game for free. Xbox Game Pass Standard, Isonzo's already available on there for you. So it might be something that you've got access to already and didn't even know about. So, the expansion here, the Adamello expansion is free. So as long as you've got the game, you're going to be able to play it. But there's also a couple other things going on right now. It is November, or as we should say, Movember, right? And Isonzo is sort of teaming up with a foundation. Can you talk a little bit more about that promotion that's going on this month?
Yeah, so as part of the Movember charity, we're participating in this year's Movember campaign, and for that we built a special mustache, which I see.
I've got it pulled up on screen here for us already. That is a fantastic mustache. As a bit of a mustache connoisseur myself, that is an envious one.
Yeah. This is so. All of our mustaches are based off of historical figures.
Mm-hmm.
This one is very flamboyant. We cannot, of course, pinpoint directly to a historical figure who wore this, but there have been photos of people wearing it in a contemporary setting. So that's fitting. For this is one of the I think the most out there mustaches that you can wear. And it's a charity DLC, so it stands on its own. It's not part of any packages. It's a charity DLC. For if you buy it for $1.99, you get to wear the mustache. And it's for this month only. It's a very temporary thing. Of course, Movember is it's an organization that raises awareness for men's health. Men's health research, particular issues surrounding men's health, prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and mental health as well. Considering our game has so many mustaches, it's natural match for us to
Yes.
participate in anything they
I
they
did
do.
not-
So yeah.
Did not count the amount of mustaches, but there's a lot in this game. And again, that's probably the best one. So for $1.99, it's a great way to support a cause. You know.
Yeah. I meant to say, of course, that this is charity DLC, so the proceeds go to the foundation. We're not making a profit on this one in that sense.
We need to go for the objectives here. And one thing to talk about with Verdun, Isonzo, Tannenberg,
Yeah, I was just
all of those
admiring the
games,
moustache.
the gameplay is definitely a bit more hardcore than some of the other ones out there. It's punishing in some ways, right? We're thinking World War I, just the way that combat was. It's a game where you really have to play a little bit more cerebrally, right? You got to think about how to approach things, when to kind of make your shot count, and it's definitely a different experience. I gotta protect the objective. There
Absolutely,
we go.
yeah.
Oh, more guys are coming. Oh, that was a good shot.
Yeah, so the game is hardcore. I mean,
Yes.
it's also fitting with the team, in my opinion. The weaponry is
There we go.
of bolt actions,
Mm-hmm.
and the pacing of the battles and the seriousness of the conflict itself warrant a serious approach to how gameplay is built around it. So this boils down to meta level.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely
back
a
and forth,
unique meta for FPS games out there.
Yeah, this for Isonzo it is the pushing through the mountains, the methodical approach to attacks for through the mountains, through defenses, barbed wire, cutting barbed wire, capturing the first lines, then moving on to the strategic points, the artillery or command bunkers in a certain sector, and then pushing through and being part of that those types of assaults. And really this sort of methodical withdrawal attack, and further that's the attack and counter attack. But also on the gunplay level, this comes back in the hardcore gunplay. It wouldn't be fitting for bolt actions to be more than one shot kill. So also because it's really hard to land a shot.
Well, and it's certainly punishing if you miss, right? So.
Much harder than automatic. Yeah, indeed.
What are we building?
So we're now assaulting the final objective. So that's the peak of Monte Presena. That's the high peak.
Gotta reload. Yeah. Hang, the game is not free to play, but it is on sale right now. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. 50% off. That's below 10 euros.
Yeah.
The equivalent dollars on Steam.
Gotta reload. The Fiat is just an interesting run. That's another thing that you get to see with Isonzo is the weapon design on a lot of these things is very unique, very interesting.
Yeah.
Certainly
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, the Italians with the Fiat thought, oh, that would be great if you could load stripper clips into a bigger clip and then fire that. So it was thought from a logistical point of view simple, but then you introduce this whole complex reload mechanic, lots of options for dirt to get into. So ultimately, maybe not so great.
It is
very different approaches to how guns were
quintessentially Italian for sure.
Yeah, Italians actually, their firearms not that bad. Gargano actually one of the better rounds. Stuck around for a long time. But the Gargano famously the rifle that was part of the Kennedy.
Harvey Oswald and JFK.
Yeah. Also, their firearms in general, the Beretta still making firearms today. Their pistols and but also Italian experimental firearms, the Filippo Rosa, the dual-barreled. Wasn't experimental, it actually deployed.
Some of the very first, and again another interesting aspect of the game, you get to see early weapon developments. You mentioned the Villa Perosa, but of course that's one of the first offensive-minded, truly assault-type weapons to be fielded. So you get the opportunity to use that in game in a much truer version than what you might see in some other titles out there.
Yeah. This is a very clunky weapon to use. Let me actually redeploy and use it. It's unwieldy to have something with two barrels. You hold it with one hand. If you're actually walking around, you can only reload one barrel at a time. So it's that we try to make up super casual. In other titles, they took some experimental assault version, and then that became sort of the way to use it. But actually, these weapons were used more like light machine guns. So that's how we also choose to portray it. And if you use it as a in that capacity, you can reload it easily because it's on the ground. Obviously, I shouldn't reload in the middle of combat, but
yeah, I'm having that experience currently. I've got a grenade launcher I can use here if I don't die. Oh, that guy bit it right in front of me. Trying to
U.S. server's not kind to me.
Trying to get the grenade
over the Atlantic. Oh god, yeah. Rifle grenades were definitely World War I.
Definitely an interesting part of that. Got here. Let's talk about a couple of other things here real quick. So we talked about, the new Adamello expansion. That's a map we're playing right now. The Movember DLC, got that special. But you guys have also brought back a game mode, and I think it's probably by popular request. It's one that I played before and had a lot of fun with. But can you tell me a little bit about Ascent before we wind up hopping into that eventually?
Yeah, yeah. So as I said earlier, Ascent is a game mode. It's a completely unique vertical game mode. So it's based on well, it's based on a broader phenomena on the Italian front, where small units of very brave individuals climbed vertical cliffs to dislodge defenders from strategic peaks, typically a handful of soldiers. And in this game mode, you actually one side is fixed on top of the mountain, the other side, the Italians have to climb it vertically. They can use ice picks to climb, and at the same time build pitons with wire to speed up the people who come after them. But this is it's very difficult for attackers, as you can imagine, on cliffs, as you will experience. But conversely, the defenders can throw rocks as well, and they are equipped with limited weaponry. If we were having, if they would have their full arsenal at their disposal, it would be quite hard to.
Yeah, it definitely would be a lot harder effort to try and get up that,
so they
that
can actually,
hill there.
if they hit you, they will you'll fall down. Yeah. So in case of the specific scenario, it's based on the raid that was done next to the Marmalada map, which is the other high alpine map which we launched last winter. It's actually adjacent. You can see the Marmalada glacier from the map as well.
But that's kind of neat. So that's a neat little connection between the two that you can see one off in the distance.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Yeah, it's in these scenarios, because there's these maps are so high up on the mountains, you're able to see one location from the other. There's cases in other scenarios where that's the same. So, for instance, from on the Sabotino map, the one with the big bridge, you can see in the distance the city of Gorizia and Monte San Michele on the Carso, which you can see all the way down.
Yeah.
So it's really that sort of, okay, there's awareness. These locations were actually, because of the high difference, you can see so far. You can see very far into the distance.
Try and
Yeah, they do a counterattack on us.
they're being successful too.
No, that was the end of both of us.
They're making it difficult to get over there. This is the final objective, though. I mean, they got nowhere to go except off the side of the mountain. Once that's taken, so.
Yeah, so the attack on this particular peak, the Ascent peak, was described by the diary you found, or the piece of information. There were indeed, as we just experienced, literal counterattacks down the hill to dislodge the Italians from the freshly conquered position. So they describe the effects of how they beat the Austro-Hungarian counterattacks. Ultimately, they did conquer the peak, but they had to shell it. Describes there was a lot of shell holes. Also pretty hard to hit the Austrians in their defensive positions. But which were half dug into the ice in some cases. On the far left, you can see an area where they built an area into the ice. And actually, on the far side, if we were to switch faction and join the Austrians, you can see on the other side of the mountain there's an area which contains these sort of cabins, which are lodged on the edge of the cliffs. There's a couple of those images which we put out as well, where you can compare the configuration of huts that were built on the side of the cliff. Obviously, if you're on the good side of the cliff, the enemy can't hit you. It's a literal wall that protects you from being hit.
And that's something that both sides wind up working with. The natural lay of the land, the mountain, building into the mountain, parts of the mountain, with the Marmalada map, of course, inside the glacier itself, which is again a really neat aspect of one of the newer maps here in the game.
Yeah, that's the City of Ice, which we talked about last winter season with the Marmalada update. That's absolutely bizarre. But these huts here are sort of gravity-defying huts built on the side of the mountain. It's hard to imagine just living there for extended duration in these blizzard conditions. Sometimes in the changing seasons, it's hard to imagine that what I've must have gone through. It's not just getting up there; it's also the fighting. On top of that, so and fighting both the elements and the.
They're you're talking about kind of like little cabins and stuff. They're definitely not vacation cabins by any means. They're definitely from the photographs that we've seen of them, they are very drafty. Like they're very rudimentary, but they beat a tent and that was about it.
Yeah, you don't forget that you also have to get all the building equipment up the mountain, so every single plank has to be painstakingly hoisted up to the mountain. It's you're not you don't have much luxury there. Of course, there's the ever threat of rocks collapsing, snow avalanches, which happened on several occasions. You had White Friday, of course, the famous event where a giant avalanche came down, which is I think close to the Marmalada map location, just on the other side of it. The avalanche came down on an Austro-Hungarian camp, and it buried something like 700 soldiers in one avalanche. And I think during the entire season, thousands of soldiers died from the avalanches. It shows how dangerous it is to actually be there.
I love the headshot sound in game. It's a good sound.
Yeah, we worked to make sure that it feels just right. I think it's important. So for us, it's really a trade-off between things that feel like authentic. But also accessible, so that you know that you made a headshot. In real life, you wouldn't hear a headshot sound so many far away, but that kind of communication is necessary for making the game flow in the right way, making the game accessible as well as it is authentic, and that's always a balance we try to
do. Yeah, and It's difficult to do, especially everybody has this idea of like what something should look like, how it should play. It's definitely difficult to find the right mix between all of those things.
You should jump into Ascent.
Yeah, we can jump into that real quick. I found a quote actually talking about, you know, what the combat was like on the Italian front and up in the mountains. And it was a New York World correspondent back in the day had said, on no front, not on the sun-scorched plains of Mesopotamia, nor the frozen Missourian marshes, nor the blood-soaked mud of Flanders, does the fighting man lead so arduous an existence as up here on the roof of the world. And like that was a very poignant kind of expression for like, wow, what does that kind of person have to go through, you know, being up there and on the mountains and figuring out, okay, this is your life now for the foreseeable future, you know, living in a tent, trying to scale mountains and ice sheets and glaciers and all of that kind of stuff. Definitely.
It's both fighting the elements and the and the enemy. That's it. You're fighting two enemies at once, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I must say that, you know, fighting, it's a bit picking what's worse. I couldn't possibly say whether it's worse to fight in like all of them sound awful. Mesopotamia with all the diseases and the flies. Flanders in the mud doesn't sound too pleasant either. In the mountains, I would say at least it looks nice on a nice day. I think, but then again, avalanches and deep cold are. I think if you can press the play now button. It's the sort of. It puts you in a match. For the mode, we created a special way of joining it because it even says that it's a time limited mode. We don't have the mode on at any point in time. Because it offers a limited experience. It's a short experience. We had 15 minutes where the defending team or the attacking team gets to conquer the mountain.
Mm-hmm. We'll get on the ground floor, the next one there. I saw it was going to end, but yeah, it's Ascent. You got one team that's got to climb up the mountain. You got to use ropes. You got to use the pitons, try to get up there, and the other team is trying to knock you off the mountain, keep you from getting up there. I personally think there's only one way to play this mode if you are the defenders, and that is rocks only. I think it's you know, what's the point of the game mode if you don't get to throw the rocks? If you're gonna use the rifles and whatever, I mean, if they get to the top, okay, but the rest of the time you should be chucking things down there and seeing the impact that makes.
It's very satisfying. It's very difficult though. It's you have to you don't get very easily.
Yeah, and I really, you know, I enjoy the challenge of being the attacker on this map, but it is definitely difficult. Like you got to be sneaky, you got to know when to go, etc. So, you know, it's tough. It looks like we're defenders right now, so we're going to be grabbing a lot of rocks and chucking them off the mountain here. And you did mention earlier, but very specific weapons set out here. So we've got the Wurndl, which is a very slow loading weapon. You can see we can throw the rocks off the mountain. Infinite ammo
Yeah,
hack
there were.
right here.
It is infinite ammo. There's a lot of rocks on the mountain.
You got rocks
but,
everywhere.
yeah, you can just pick them up. Yeah, it's the Wurndal is very particular. It looks and it is outdated. Black powder
Yep.
gun from the 1867. I think we had to balance this map out so that it is still enjoyable for the attackers. If you had here automatic weapons or repeating rifles, it would be very unfair.
Yeah, definitely. See, you're talking about the Wurndal being outdated, but I'm holding a rock, so I don't know. I don't know which is more outdated.
Yeah, there were. I mean, there were on several fronts battles where the last resort was throwing rocks down. I think in the Vosges as well, there were the Western Front, famously French soldiers as a last resort throwing rocks.
Oh, there's somebody down there. It gets more interesting the further they get up the mountain. It gets much more intense. You got to worry about rolling rocks in particular places. It gets a lot more fun. And
there's always seems to be one person sneak. You know, there's so many crevices which you can crawl up as an attacker. There's always a person finding just the right place to sneak through.
I'm waiting.
Oh, actually, I managed to hit somebody with a rock.
Did you? I'm waiting to see the bodies fall down the side of the mountain. That's my other fun thing to do. Is you sit here, you look up, and I don't know how you guys program this, but every time the body like flies by you, it like screams and it yells as it goes by, and that's one of the best parts of the game mode there.
Props to audio. Lars, our audio artist who made the.
Oh, somebody got me. Oh, they're at our level.
I got another person with the rock. What's this? I got two people. I just threw it randomly.
So yeah, they're on our flank over there on the right side. Oh, no, I don't want to fall. No. There's only one, like, it's one way if you are defenders, because you're not able to climb, so you can't go, like, up and down, right? You're in the one location, and that's where you're going to be. And if you slip, you're unfortunately not gonna make it back up, so you got to be careful, and it's tricky, because you know, the smart players know where everyone is, where the rock piles are, and they're waiting and looking for you. So poking your head out can be a little hazardous.
Yeah. I think what's often misunderstood is that for defenders, often, specifically when they're on the high ground, it's a bit counterintuitive. But high ground is not necessarily always good. Because sometimes if you're too high up, you have a lack of vision just under your field of view. In order to get there, you need to peek your head out and expose yourself, becoming more of a silhouette against the sky, becoming a very easy target to pick out. Which is particularly the case when in this scenario where you where you have to completely go over the edge of the rock to expose yourself. You can blind throw rocks over the edge as well, but obviously it's very hard to hit people unless you're me in this match. Luckily I recorded it. I just threw a random rock twice over the edge and killed somebody way below. And I fell to my death.
Well, I've done that once already, so don't feel bad about it. It's very interesting. I've had the experience where I'm playing this and I just like look over to my right or left, and you just make that awkward eye contact with the enemy that's at the same level as you, and you just gotta sit there and you're like, no. He's pretty far up. Whoever just shot me is pretty far up the right side. So I'm gonna spawn a little bit higher up and see if we can't drop something on him.
Yeah, they always get surprisingly fast high up. You don't pay attention for a second and already manage to build an encampment somewhere up the mountain. So how this works is that there's multiple encampment positions on the cliff, and the attackers have to progressively go up up the cliff, and then there's a fight over the peak, which is a small cap zone.
I think they're really far over there.
Yeah, there's several lanes which are cannot be seen from one side to the other. So it's not like if you're in one as a defender in one position, you can cover the entire mountain. That would be very OP.
Let's see if I can get
yeah,
all the
but
way
when we first trialed this, we thought the attackers would be completely chanceless. Because I mean, on paper this sounds lunacy. We even had the idea of having 2 or 3 times the amount of attackers to defender ratios, but in the end it balances itself out quite well. Because there's lots of sight lines that are blocked, so it's quite hard to see people as well because they're quite well camouflaged against all the rocks. It's very noisy. When you're in the high Alps in the mountains, your eyes there's so much visual noise from all the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to put into words. But when you're there, there's so much visual noise, so that I think we're only scratching the surface in the engine what we could do with that. But it's very hard to see people in these, especially because they're a little bit camouflaged.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned it, but it is hard to hear them with all the howling of things up here. It's definitely difficult, and I think they're gonna keep coming from over here. So.
Oh, what's cool? Next time you respawn to check out the customizations for the winter campaigns as well. So
okay,
you have two packs for that. If you find yourself.
Yeah, we can definitely do that in a second. I want someone to catch this. Where'd they go? It seems like our team has things locked down pretty well here. So I don't see anybody over on the flank where they were. Sometimes the other team gets a little bit frustrated and there's a fewer number of them, but you gotta stick through it. Oh, I see one guy, he's climbing right there. I'm gonna let him go. Should I do that? I want him to get up there.
Yeah, once they build one forward post, it can go pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think that the initial approach is the hardest because they have to traverse a little bit of flat area, which is where they're most exposed against the open ground.
Mm-hmm.
Unless of course you're wearing a little bit of white camouflage, but typically doesn't compensate.
go check out some of those uniforms in the meantime. All right. So, somebody in the chat said friendly rock fire.
Yeah, we even contemplated when somebody's been killed and falls off the mountain and falls on top of you, that you then also fall. But that was a bit too far.
Yeah.
To do.
So, which ones are we looking at for the DLC? Which ones you want to showcase here?
Yeah. So you're all mountaineers on this.
Mm-hmm.
On this map. If you're looking at the well, particularly here the altitude one, so the white.
Yeah,
so
we got the snowshoes.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see he wears the snowshoes and big gloves, but you can still see he also wears his regular uniform underneath the underneath the uniform, or underneath the. It's an overcoat essentially, and then he wears the gloves, but then there's the sort of super thick gloves you can put over it as well. So this is really somebody geared up to send sentry on top of a mountain. What they also did is they sometimes put grease on their face in order to protect them from the wind. Then for the glacial one, another Kaiserjäger. So Kaiserjäger with the oak leaf cap.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he has ice pick shoes. So ice shoes to go into the walk on ice.
Yeah, got the crampons, and then he's got the mountaineering rope around him there.
More grip.
Yeah.
He also wears a. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you open up the.
And can you settle this for me? Because it's something I've wondered for quite some time and just haven't, gotten around to looking it up. The medals on the caps, they're very specific.
Bandages around it.
The medals on the caps of the Austro-Hungarian soldiers, what are those for specifically? Like historically, like what did they get those awarded for, and why would they wear them?
Yeah, so they were what's called Kapabzeichen. So they're like pins, and they were given out for campaigns. I have a whole book with all of their commemorative medals given out for certain campaigns. If you fought on the car, so there's one for those, or even one with trench clubs on them at specific battles. So given out for that. But there's a lot of them. They're not medals in the traditional sense, but more of a commemorative name.
Which is kind of ties into the culture of just celebrating achievements and things like that. You see a lot of that in Austro-Hungarian mountaineering culture and hiking and that's a neat representation there. They're starting to make their way up the side of the mountain now. So.
Yeah. Join back in.
See if we can't spawn here and maybe get a rock kill. We'll see what happens. They're starting to come through over there, so.
Coming up.
Ooh, we traded jabs and both missed. Might be my rock opportunity. Ah! What? I threw it at him. It didn't work. Gravity was not on my side. I had to literally, I think, you know what it was? I threw out my back. That's what happened. And I didn't get bayoneted. I threw out my back, and that's why I died. All right, we've come to the top part, though. They're starting to, somebody's got up to the top, and they're challenging the top flag, so. Oh, I can see him up there. He sees me. That's not good. Ah. And
it does feel very satisfying landing a shot with these single shot rifles.
It does, and it's something. Right now, one of the things I've noticed with this game is that once the top point starts going, like, you can't hang out here on some of the other areas, really. Like, it becomes this mad dash for the main point at the top. So if they manage to flank you and get past, it's best to respawn and try to work back the enemy there.
Yeah. Yeah, once the top capture starts to go sideways, you need to, it's all hands on deck. But then you're giving up your forward position, so you're giving up some ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's better than losing the game outright. You can see on your map, indeed, they conquered the left flank. They've all built forward posts already.
Yep.
On the edge of the glacier even.
They are in force up there, and we've still got 3-4 guys down on the bottom level. And unfortunately, that's not where the battle is right now. And yeah, you definitely feel it with the... Nice headshot sound. Definitely feel it with the... We're trying to bayonet each other, and neither of us can do it. What happened? Why did I die? I do appreciate the person's name, though. The Waluigi Cadorna. That's a creative name.
Yeah, Luigi Cadorna, the commander-in-chief of the Italian army during World War I. Notorious for his decimation and also his incompetent battle tactics.
If it doesn't work the first time, it'll definitely work the 12th time, right? That's what we remember about Cadorna.
That's the meme. But it's fully justified. Not quite sure. I do think that the characterization of the 11 Battle of the Isonzo, not to be the the sort of apologist for the tactics that were used on the Italian front, but I think there's a 11 battles of the Isonzo, or well 12. The 12 was actually the German attack, so couldn't be blamed for that, obviously. But we were not saying the 11 Battle of Northern France. Obviously, the Isonzo front was a bit bigger than a singular battle, doing it over and over again. There were several points where they attacked. So there's sometimes in military history it appears that there's the different scales of the different battles are not all treated equally. Like I said this before, but the Battle of the Bloody Gulch from Band of Brothers is like a very singular battle, but has its own Wikipedia page. Well, Operation Bagration, the largest military operation ever, has its it's I wouldn't say it's treated equally, but that would be the most extreme example, and it's a bit the same here. The battles are not necessarily equal. Well, a bit going into the detail of the historical context, but I think our fan base also appreciate that we put effort into putting this information in the loading screen, giving the broader context of the battles, and we always try to, in the loading text, we pay particular attention to putting as much information in there and providing as much of the broader context as we can in the text. in a way, people who don't know the Italian front, they get to know it through through us. The loading text information, the battle menu, in the main menu, to illustrate where on the front this took place. All helps to brutal trying to get up there.
And, you know, for people who are watching right now, the pitons, when you're climbing and setting the pitons, what do those do specifically?
They speed up the climbing of everybody who comes after you. So if you place one, so you build a piton in the wall. You actually execute the build action, and then it automatically connects the piton through wire with the other ones that are already there. So it's fully procedural, if you will. And it creates a sort of network of wire. And then if you're climbing in that area, you climb quite a bit faster. It's a bit hard to notice, but if you see it side by side, it's actually really significantly faster. So, you know, everybody who climbs after you, kind of like with real climbing, when you put the rope in, and people after you can have easier time, or at least a safer time at it. It makes it also very visible how much progress you've made. So maybe the gameplay impact of it is subtle, or at least the experience, the gameplay of it is subtle. But you can actually see, if you look back, the whole thing has been constructed with wires. Like, oh, we've made it this far up the mountain. It's really visual representation. It's also very motivating for attackers.
Right now,
on top of the fact that they have all these posts.
Trying to make it up the mountain over here, and I'm trying to actually bypass the first level. I'm trying to use the natural flow of the mountain to make a bit of a defilé here, so that you know, if you do follow me up the mountain, you're safe. You're not in a bad position. And we'll see if I manage to make it up the mountain a little bit more. See if we can't get behind everybody.
Yeah, that's typically a better tactic than facing the defenders head-on.
Yes.
Because they're fully focused on down, not necessarily up. It's also easier to pick them off once you're above them. When they're like looking down, they're unaware.
Yep. That's what I'm trying to do here, so we'll see if we actually manage to do it. I have no idea if anybody is behind me right now. So we'd made it up here. Let's see if we can't... crap, they're up here. I'm just gonna build this and hope nobody notices me. Because they seem pretty busy, so I'm gonna hope that that's the case. Go for the flank! Ah! Well, I had tried. I got a couple of them. Unfortunately, I was banking on the guy being out of ammunition and having to reload his rifle, but that did not work out for me, unfortunately. I did get a couple of them. I bayoneted one and shot the other one, and I did build the spawn point. Oh,
yeah, that's the important thing. If building spawn point, then your team reinforcements can come up again.
Yep, and I don't think anybody was paying attention. Oh boy. Bodies and rocks. Bodies and rocks. falling over my head right now. Oh, that's not good. Oh. Again, you're just trying to find like the little cracks, the little spaces where you can avoid having a rock land on your head. I'm almost up here, so I'm going to try and get another piton in.
Yeah, again, it's just the sheer bravery of these people, these soldiers climbing up. I mean, I'm not a mountain climber, but just climbing up the cliff is already...
Yeah, it's brave enough. Yeah. Let's see if we can't, you know, demonstrate how much faster you go if you get over here. I want to try and connect. Trying to connect to the other line that I had laid earlier, because if we get on that, you can see this guy over here. He just got to the top and then unfortunately died. But bodies. Man, they are right on with these rocks. Alright, we at least got him. There's just bodies and rocks everywhere. This mode is just pure memery, and it's fantastic. There you go, you heard the yell. Rocks just keep coming. It's probably not going to end well for this guy. Yeah. He ate that rock. This is not a good place to be. I need to... Well, I was going to try and get back to the other side of the mountain over there. That didn't work out so well for me. I love when you die, too. The weapon it says is just rock. That's all it says.
Yeah, it could have been M1915/2 edition. I think Ian from Forgotten Weapons has a video on. It's a. I'm not sure if it's an April Fool's one, but it describes exactly the French MLA-16 Roche, like, and then treats it very seriously as a as if it was a weapon. Like any other he does.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy. Oh boy. Nope, 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 nope. On the plus side, if they fall, they die too. So. Oh boy. Still at least one more up there, so we need to try and hang out here for a second.
Yeah, so for those people who are watching, this is a temporary game mode. The Ascent game mode is 15 minutes of attackers trying to climb up a mountain, dislodge the defenders from the top. And it's a smaller time-limited game mode. Also limited in time, as in it's 15 minutes, but also limited currently for the next 2 weeks.
We did get some people up the mountain here, so I'm gonna see if we can't turn the tables on these guys. Because there's some below us now. I don't know if anybody's left down there. No, yeah, there's still an enemy down there. on, get that guy. That one, I feel good about that throw. I can see him. He's just, the rocks aren't bouncing where they need to bounce. Alright.
Best is if you just throw one blind and then hit people.
Yeah.
That feels like
He's gotta be up there at the top, just kind of peering over, hoping to get people. We made it to the top though. So I'm gonna stop trying to throw a rock at somebody and try to go after the objective here.
yeah, there's no achievement for an attacker throwing a stone on a defender. It should be.
It's just pure fun. This has been a really fun, challenging game, actually. Having to really try and climb and avoid, and just really hope you get lucky.
It has elements of stealth.
Yeah.
Stealth game.
Yep, you definitely listening is important for this particular game mode.
Yeah, if you hear that ding 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 ding.
There we go. Yeah, well, and I mean just the footsteps and everything like that too makes a big difference. I have no idea what our stats were for that even. We managed to kill 7 people. Unfortunately, none of them with a rock, but we did help the attack on the right side over there. That was good. All right. Jos, is there anything else that you want to talk about? We can play another match of this here. Or do you want to go back into Adamello, or what do you think we should do?
What we haven't shown is the new weapons, which are part of this update. So we have, for instance, for the German weapons, if you join a match on Caporetto, Grappa, or Piave, which are the German maps. The Germans now have the extended Luger, the artillery Luger,
with the snail magazine.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And then you have a for the Italians got a new grenade, correct?
Yeah, correct. Which is uniquely an impact grenade.
And that fills. Is that the first impact grenade that we've had in Isonzo?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So that actually fills sort of a niche there, a new bit of a gameplay element added to the game.
It is challenging to use because it's kind of like a chunky thing. You need to throw it to the right. You can really use it as a distance weapon. It's really used for in the trenches when you're clearing objectives in that capacity. So it's really trying to, indeed fill that niche. Oh, I'm in a bunker. I see the slit and I throw it in. There's no escape from running it away, but there's only a handful of cases where that would actually be very useful.
Mm-hmm.
The artillery Luger is quite powerful in close combat as well.
Oh, this guy's
The
figured
enormous
out the
magazine capacity.
Yeah, the big magazine capacity. Oh, I thought I was going to get somebody. Sorry, I got very excited. The artillery Luger also has a longer barrel, does it not?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so it's. The heart also has a attached stock to it, and then in addition to that, that came later, the snail drum magazine, sort of ammunition. But those are two. Obviously, you can also use regular Luger magazines in the gun. We have the more advanced configuration. This was used in trench combat, more of an assault style weapon. So that's what we try to put it in more of the assault pioneer role for the Germans.
Yeah, I had to be on the receiving end of it earlier today, and it's definitely a game changer in some ways for just the sheer amount of firepower, short distance. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and that's on the German side, and then on the Italian side, the Petardo Offensivo, which is it's a quick match for me. Petardo Offensivo, based on the so that the French built set of grenades, which the Italians used quite extensively. The DEVS grenades, very clunky operatable grenades, of early modern French grenades, which the Italians used. Actually found them to be very unreliable, so they made their own version of that with the impact fuse. There were several variants. One with the offensive. You have offensive, defensive grenades in World War I. The offensive grenades are concussion, or grenades with more explosion, no fragmentation, and then defensive grenades are the grenades with the fragmentation. And this is the offensive configuration, so it's more of a blast weapon. It made an enormous sound. It's also what it was known for, firecracker or petardo, which is because of the blast sound it made.
And that's a real reflection of the tactics of the time too. You know, talking about offensive grenades, talking about trench warfare, trying to break into, you know, the trenches, trying to get behind the lines and break through them. So they really relied a lot on, you know, the kind of stunning attack tactics and trying to break morale and you know, use that to their advantage.
Yeah, offensive. So defensive grenades, shrapnel typically useful in the open, more so than blast grenades lobbing into trenches, concussion of troops or in a confined space. More useful there.
Oh, I got someone with a rock. I don't know where exactly, but I got somebody on the left side of the the mountain with a rock. A rock throwing machine up there. It does make me a little bit sad that this game mode is limited time, but I think you've got about 10 more days, 11 more days of the game mode.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those people who are curious, try it out in the there's a free weekend. This is obviously it's a limited experience, so it's only for a few. It's a 15-minute game mode, so obviously compared to the rest of the game in terms of content, it's good to have that available for a amount of time. It's funny, somebody commenting in the chat. If a beach of Normandy was in the Alps, yeah, it's the Point du Hoc. I think Call of Duty 2 had
Yes,
that.
Call of Duty 2 had Point du Hoc on it.
I'm not sure if that had any climbing.
Well, you didn't climb in the same sense. It had the rocket propelled grappling hooks that went up, and you climbed up those. But not like
ladder.
this. Yeah.
Or like yeah.
Oh, they built a forward command post somewhere right down there. I think we need to hold them more towards the center here. Maybe we'll get They are down there. I see them. All right. Now, let me look here. Let's recap a little bit here because I want to make sure that we talk about everything. I really would have loved to have loved to try out the weapons. I'm definitely going to do a short on those at some point because the artillery Luger is just really cool to talk about. It's one of those weapons that you look at it and you question why. You know, when you see it, you're like, what exactly was the purpose of it? What did it do?
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of that steampunk look to it. Garrett says, why are you throwing rocks off the cliff? So this is a game mode where you have to do that. Pick up rocks, and the idea is you try and knock the attackers off the mountain with rocks. And limited time. Don't throw your body like that guy did. Throw the rock, not yourself. But the goal is to try and hit them as they climb up the mountain. So if I was able to switch, I'd show you. But at the moment, I want to run through everything. But yeah, the artillery Luger is just an interesting weapon. And then the new impact grenade. There's just so much content in this game. I keep coming back to that. You know, you guys just keep knocking out content for free for this game. And it's been really nice to see, you know, looking at this game, you've got bot support in there. So if you want to play games by yourself, you're able to do it. You know, 48 players against 48 players. So you always got something to do. You can level up your your character classes as you go through and do that. But y'all have also kept up with some of the other games out there. So Tannenberg just wrapped up the limited time wolf mode, and I had done a video on that previously. And as somebody who's fought a wolf and lived, it was very cathartic for me to play that game mode. Thankfully, I've never had to climb a mountain with rocks coming down, so this isn't particularly cathartic.
The wolf story sounds pretty scary, but
it was not fun. But yeah, with how many maps has that been now for Isonzo since release?
I think this is number. What are we at? 6?
6?
7.
And
we doubled the content since we launched. Yeah, so we started off with the three the ones from the German offensive. So Caporetto, Grappa, and Piave.
Mm-hmm.
Then we did 2 in the High Alps. Well, now completed. So it's the Adamello and Marmolada.
Mm-hmm.
These Italian names, I for some reason constantly mix up Adamello and not to be mixed up with Montello.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Piave and Piana. So yeah, 7 actually. So 2 in High Alps, 1 in the Dolomites, the Piana, the green one on the plains. And then recently in September we did Montello, which is
Yes.
yeah. And there's we have something more in the works. Obviously, we're trying to go through the entire war on the Italian front, so almost in a chronological way.
So there's
Yeah,
still more,
7 maps.
still more to come.
Yeah, in the last 2 years. Just over 2 years since we launched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really fun. Always a beautiful map, and each map has its own vibe and unique appearance. The German maps are really fall themed. Obviously, the ones in the High Alps are part of the White War in the snow, so they have their own unique characteristics. So in each season we go through their own set of weapons. Each update comes with weapons. Some of them come with customization packs. So we did 2 very large customization packs for the Germans, filled with content for on all classes. Many different types of headgear.
Mm-hmm.
It's really been 2 years of yeah. Well, it's always been my passion to recreate the Italian front. We definitely didn't help back on it. Spent quite a lot of time and effort on each map. Is meticulously researched, and so are the weapons and the characters' uniforms. All of that together. Yeah, it's been quite fun to work on.
Yeah, and that's a great way to help support your development. Talking about some of the cosmetics that are in here, all the maps that you've talked about, all the content that Isonzo has put out since launch has been free. The maps, the gameplay elements, all of that is free. It's not pay to win. So looking at ways of how I'll generate additional income to help fund development. I've always loved the model, but looking at the cosmetic packs, just absolutely wonderful that you've been able to combine your love for history with cosmetics and come up with things that are visually interesting, true to history to the best extent. I think that you can do it, and they help support development, so it's fantastic. And again, this month you've got the Movember facial hair pack, so we got that, which I checked. Right, you can put it on any of your characters, on any of the factions. You can wear the majestic handlebar mustache. But you've also got other clothing elements, again, like historically accurate ones. The Italians have one that I really like, that I want to point out here, and I have to remember which one it is that has it.
The
one
customization piece,
yes,
or a uniform.
Uniform. And it's specifically the guy who has the bicycle on his back.
Ah, yeah, it's the Bersaglieri Ciclisti, so it's the marksman.
Marksman?
Yeah, it's marksman class of the Italians.
There he is. Like, that's a fantastic example of just being able to combine, you know, your love for history with the game, and inviting people to help support it. Like, that's really, really neat. And you get to run around with a bicycle on your back. That's kind of fun. It's certainly
these were real troops.
Recognizable.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's also drawing attention to the unknown parts of history. Of course, maybe the Bersaglieri, but they're still around. Unit of the Italian army. Sorry, the Alpini. There's go back. Their regiments are now named after battles that were fought during the war. Very proud history on the Italian front, or in the Italian army. So yeah, it's nice to take all of those sort of crazy and very specific uniforms and try to put them in the game, but while still maintaining historical accuracy. So what we don't want is odd combinations of units and mixture of uniform types. So, you know, when you're Alpini as a uniform, you can only wear Alpini hats or Bersaglieri hats. So there's no random mixture, or Germans wearing Italian hats or something like that. It's sort of that balance, trying to give us players as much options as possible, while maintaining the credibility of it. It's like where other games take more liberty on the combination. Even quickly gets into a cacophony of customization, where everything sort of starts to look somewhat of the same. Here, classes are very distinct, and factions are quite distinct in their appearance, because they're uniforms. They're meant to be uniform, so it tends to be a bit boring, but in its sort of realness, it grounds it more. And obviously, when you go into the higher Alps, you have these more winter gear, which are a bit more out there.
Well, and it's fun too to see the acknowledgement that you know, the officers always got the best stuff. I think that it's fun that you can see that with the officer cosmetics, who's got the big puffy fur coat with like the lining up by the neck, and you look at it, you're like, all right, that wouldn't be so bad to be out in the winter up in the mountains, you know, wearing something like that where you've got it. But you know, the average run-of-the-mill rifleman, you know, had to make do with something that looked like a potato sack, you know.
Yeah, sometimes just a burlap thing to put them over, and just as a cover.
Yeah.
But famously, in the Carpathians, Austro-Hungarian troops were sent into battle with card box, shoes, or boots, and that did not go so well for them. Obviously, the big diversity in, luckily for us on the Austro-Hungarian uniform side, is the sort of, and that's specifically visible in the latest DLC which you brought out, the Shell Shock DLC. It's really based on the last last battles of the war, where the Austro-Hungarian army was really running on its last legs. You see these really these uniforms with torn legs, having coats on, a coat over a coat. You can see at the bottom there's no putty, that's already gone. You get this really shabby look, what you also see in prisoners of war, typically, or wounded soldiers. So we doubled down on that. Okay, these soldiers are both wounded. They've given them a particular aesthetic. So it came with a whole pack of facial bandages and head bandages and helmets that are worn sideways because to make room for the bandaging. To really a specific aesthetic. But also the Austro-Hungarian uniform set in its totality is a mixture, a ragtag bunch of soldiers fighting with early and late war equipment, because and even replacement equipment, all in mixture, just because that's what they had at their disposal at the time. Even though armies try to stay as uniform as possible, work with the latest thing, all armies went through a big transformation throughout the war, pretty much. The British Army, an exception, they didn't evolve that much. The French Army started their war with red pants. They quickly found out. Week one, don't do this. They had to introduce covers and make sure that they hit that. But that's the most extreme example. But the Austro-Hungarian Army changed it from bright blue to more field grau, and then all different dyes, different sorts of fabrics. It really makes it possible to have a diversity in what content we could make, how we could package it. Really a fun exercise. Also to dig into the material and find, this obscure type of overall was worn on the mountain. We can use that. I say obscure, but here you do take into account that we try to stay to as much as possible to what the common soldier would have seen, which is one of our design principles. It's like, okay, if you were a soldier, you were to fight in the trenches, what is it the most likely you would have experienced or would have seen in battle, and sort of work out from there. I mean, you would have gotten the standard rifle, you would have got the standard uniform. That's what most of your troops would have gotten. So with that sort of constraint, we work out from adding features and weapons and uniforms.
Yeah, and I mean it pays dividends there. It absolutely does. Really quick, just a recap for everything before we kind of call the stream here. So the new map Adamello is out. It's available now. You've got basically a free trial on Steam, on PlayStation as well. That's going to run until the 18th. Also, if you have Xbox Game Pass Standard, like you have this game right now, you could just go download it and play it. And that's pretty exciting. There is the Movember promotion that's happening. So I've got it pulled up on screen here, but this lovely mustache this gentleman has, the handlebar mustache, is part of a special charity pack. So that's going to go help fund men's health research and promotional efforts. That runs just $1.99 to be essentially the coolest person in the game visually. That seems well spent to me. For me, it'd be more like an upgrade. You grow it out to the side there. But that's a great crossover here. And of course, I don't think there's any other game out there that has such a wide selection of facial hair. So it definitely is on brand. And I was very excited to hear that you all were able to kind of connect those two things together. But before we log off, or kind of as we log off today, let me give you an opportunity, Jos, real quick. If you had anything in particular that you wanted to mention or bring up, I know we really didn't get to showcase them today, but the newest expansion also adds the artillery Luger and then an impact grenade. But is there anything else that that you want to talk about real quick before we hop off? I'll play the special trailer for the new expansion as well.
I think you gave a great summary of the new update, and I want to thank you for hosting me and for playing along. We had a great fun. So.
Well, thanks for sharing your knowledge on World War I history and your passion for development and the game, and kind of bringing those two things together. It's always a pleasure to talk to you about, you know, what's kind of going through your mind as you put some of these things together. And I think a lot of us, those of us that have played the other World War I series games, you know, we're always cheering for you. We're always excited to see what you come up with, what you put together, ways to bring, you know, your passion and history to life. So I'll be looking forward to the next map as well. You mentioned that there's still going to be more coming. All of the expansions for this game are free, so if you end up buying it, it's on sale, you know, for the next few days. Also the expansion packs, the cosmetics, if you saw some of those that you liked, those are on sale as well right now. I pretty much got all of them. I think there's a couple that I got to go grab, but just a great way to support the game and bring some additional history to life there.
Well said.
Yeah, like, no, but it's still crazy that you guys are coming out with more stuff for this, and there's going to be more ahead in the future. I will say, although the stream is ending, I'm going to be working on some shorts for the game, most likely with cosmetics. We were talking about doing a mustache ranking video. There's a lot of them to go through, and I think low-key the handlebar might be the winner. I do like this one, the Glacial Unit DLC one, where his beard is just out and it's crazy. But if we're talking mustaches, I think the handlebar's the winner there. So
yeah, you gotta have the handlebar for the for the charity as the sort of cherry on the cake.
yes.
But yeah, the other ones are definitely should do a ranking one. I'm curious to see what the community comes up with.
Yeah, we could definitely take the favorites there and look at that. But yeah, we're gonna hop off right now. But definitely, again, if you've got Xbox or PlayStation, Steam, whatever, go download the free trial today, install it, give it a go. It's a different experience. It's one that's very respectful, very influenced by World War One, and definitely worth checking out. So I'm going to sign off for now. Before I do, I am going to play the Isonzo trailer for you to celebrate the release of the new expansion. So again, Jos, thanks for joining me here today. Really appreciate it as always, and we'll see everybody next time. Sound good? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Mi trovo qui, la terra intorno a me